Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीमद् भागवत गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I welcome you to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Actually, today I have a class at ISKCON Philadelphia in about an hour and 10 minutes. So we will have a short class today. I wanted to hold this class so that we don't lose our continuity. So maybe we will do for half an hour, we will do Srimad Bhagavatam and half an hour Bhagavad Gita and we'll wind up. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, we have been reading from the 10th canto, chapter 7, the killing of the demon Trinavarta. So yesterday we were reading text 6 of the 7th chapter. So we read that Yashodamai, being completely absorbed in taking care of the guests, worshipping the Brahmanas, all the Vrajvasis who had come, offering them prasadam, giving them gifts, etc. She did not hear Krishna, who was crying. She had put Krishna, laid him down on a bed under the shakata, a big cart, which was stationed in the courtyard of the house. So she just was busy, and there was a lot of music and mantras being chanted. She didn't hear Krishna cry. Krishna was crying because he was hungry. Stanarthi. He was hungry for the stana, for the breast milk of his mother. And she was crying, but she could not hear. So out of anger, Krishna, Charana Udakshipat. Charana Udakshipat means he kicked his legs upward like little babies do, laying on their back, kicking the legs. So he kicked his leg and Charana Udakshipat. So what was Krishna thinking when he kicked his leg? and he actually kicked the cart. In anger, Krishna kicked his legs upward as he was thinking, as if he's speaking to his mother. He's saying, since you cannot hear me cry, maybe the sound of the cart braking will catch your attention. So that was his thought. So then we will read the next verse today. Let me share the screen. adhaḥ-śayānasya śiśoranolpaka pravāla-mṛdv-aṅghri-hataṁ vyavartata vidhvasta-nānā-rasa-kupya-bhājanaṁ vyatyasta-cakrākṣa-vibhinna-kūbaram. Once again, adhaḥ-śayānasya śiśoranolpaka pravāla-mṛdv-aṅghri-hataṁ vyavartata vidhvasta-nānā-rasa-kupya-bhājanaṁ vyatyasta-cakrākṣa-vibhinna-kūbaram. Adhaḥ means lower. Śayānasya, that means Śayānasya means he was made to lay down. His bed was underneath, below the handcart or below the cart, shakata. Adhaḥ-śayānasya śiśor anolpaka. Shishu means the baby. Anaha means the cart. So the baby was sleeping under the cart. Lpaka. Alpa means what? Less. Lpaka means he was not grown very much. He was still a very young baby, a small baby, tender baby. Not very, supposedly, not very strong, small baby. So he was not very much grown. Lpaka. Pravala. Pravala means the new tender leaves. You know, in spring season, when the new leaves come, they're so soft, so tender. So mridu means soft. Soft like the newly grown leaves. What is that? Angri. Angri means his feet. So his feet were very, very soft and tender like the newly grown leaves. And with those feet, hatam. Hatam means he actually struck. He hit. With those tender, soft leaves, which were soft like newly grown leaves, he hit. Then vyavartata. Vyavartata means as a result of his hitting, it turned over and fell down. What turned over? We'll see. So vyavartata means turned over and fell down. What turned over and fell down? We will see. Vidhvasta. Vidhvasta means scattered. What was scattered? Nānā-rasa-kupya-bhājanaṁ. So nānā-rasa means different kinds of metals. Nānā-rasa-kupya-bhājanaṁ. The pots which were made of different types of metals. So there were brass metals, brass pots, copper pots, like that. Iron pots maybe. So different types of pots, pots made with different metals. What happened to them? They all got scattered as a result of Krishna's hitting, striking, but it was very gentle. You know, it's not like, you know, he's like exerting himself. It just touched, his foot just touched the ceiling, you can say. So the bed of that cart, for him it is the ceiling. So it just touched, and all the pots that were stacked on top of this cart, they all got scattered. They fell down. They came tumbling down. Vyavartata, turned over and fell down. The whole cart. The whole cart turned over and fell down, and all the pots which were made of different metals, they just scattered here and there, obviously making a loud sound. Vyatyasta, dislocated. What else happened? Not just, it's not that just the pots fell down. Vyatyasta, dislocated. Chakra means the wheels. The wheels got dislocated from the cart. And aksha, chakra, aksha means along with the axle. The axle, which is holding the two wheels together, that got dislocated. The wheels got dislocated. Not only that, Vibhinna-Kūbaram, all the spokes, everything got broken in the wheels. Everything was completely broken. The pole of the handcart was broken. Everything got dislocated and broke. Yeah, dislocated, not exactly broken, because later we will see that they once again fixed the cart and put it together. So all these parts got dislocated. Adhaḥ-śayānasya śiśor lpaka pravāla-mṛdv-aṅghri-hataṁ vyavartata. Vyavartata, turned over and fell down. Vidhvasta-nānā-rasa-kupya-bhājanaṁ vyatyasta-cakrākṣa-vibhinna-kūbaram. Lord Sri Krishna was lying down underneath the handcart in one corner of the courtyard. So you remember why Krishna was laying down in one corner of the courtyard? Because with all the mantras being chanted, all the ceremony that was going on, and it took a long time, and Krishna was so drowsy. His eyes became so sleepy, and there was no room anywhere in the house. The whole place was filled up with, with supplies, with people, and with so much going on there. Somewhere cooking is going on, somewhere there are, serving out prasadam, and all the ladies were there somewhere. They had just done the abhishek, and so many gifts were, kept to be given, and they were being given. So much, the whole house was filled up. So there was no room anywhere to lay down Krishna. So Yashoda Mai lay him down in the courtyard, in one corner of the courtyard, where there was this huge cart. It is 90 feet long cart. And then under that cart, Krishna was sleeping. Lord Sri Krishna was lying down underneath the handcart in one corner of the courtyard. And although his little legs were as soft as leaves, when he struck the cart with his legs, it turned over violently and collapsed. Vyavartata means it turned over and collapsed. The wheels separated from the axle, the hubs and spokes fell apart. Yes, everything got dislocated. The hub and the spokes, of bicycles, right? You have spokes. So the hub, spokes, everything fell apart. And the pole of the handcart broke. On the cart, there were many little utensils made of various metals, and all of them scattered hither and thither. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has commented on this verse as follows. When Lord Krishna was of a very tender age, how old was Krishna at this time? Very tender age. He was in his 3rd month. So if you want, you can call him 3 months old at most. So was of a very tender age. His hands and legs resembled soft new leaves. So he was even younger than Atulya Harinamanand Prabhu's daughter, younger daughter. Even younger than her. So when Lord Krishna was of a very tender age, his hands and legs resembled soft new leaves. Yet, simply by touching the handcart with his legs, simply by touching, he made the cart fall to pieces. It's unimaginable. You cannot. That's why everyone's intelligence went blank. They could not comprehend. How is it possible? Such a small baby. And by the way, they didn't even know. We'll see later on. But yeah, he simply by touching the handcart with his legs, he made the cart fall to pieces. It was quite possible for him to act in this way and yet not exert himself very much. The important thing is, you see, he made such a big cart fall to pieces. Even the spokes, everything, everything fell apart. And for him, he was still the 3-month-old baby, with very soft, tender feet, and just simply touched with his foot. So what is wonderful in this pastime is, it was possible for Krishna, being a small baby, yet he did such, such a major thing, right? Like breaking a huge, Maharaj says it's like a truck, a big truck. That's how big the cart was. It was being pulled by 8 oxen. 8 oxen would pull this Shakata. It was huge. So it was quite possible, but Krishna, although still in the form of a small baby, 3-month-old baby, by touching the cart with his legs, he caused the cart to fall to pieces. It was possible for him to act in this way and yet not exert himself very much. He didn't exert himself very much. How? The Lord in his Vaman avatar had to extend his foot to the greatest height to penetrate the covering of the universe. So we all know Vaman-dev also appeared as a dwarf, in the form of a dwarf Brahmana, very short in stature, small, looked like a small boy, very, very attractive. When Bali Maharaj saw, even Bali Maharaj's daughter, Maharaj says, when she saw Vaman Dev, she got this Vatsalya Bhav towards Vaman Dev. That means he just looked like a tender, small boy. That's how he appeared. And then he asked for 3 steps in charity. Land, which could, land occupied by his 3 steps. That much land he wanted. So Bali Maharaj thought, he's a small boy. What will, with your tiny feet, 3 steps, what will you do with that? Ask for a whole planet. I'll give you a whole planet, like that. Yet, when Bali Maharaj gave him the 3 steps of land, what did Vaman Dev do? Was he still in the form of a small boy? No, he grew. Right in front of Bali Maharaj and everyone else, he just grew so tall that with his 1 foot, he covered the entire earth. That means earth and all the planets below. Everything is covered by 1 foot. And with his other foot, he raised, so you see, steps, right? Land covered by the steps. So 1 foot is on the earth and the other foot is touching the cover of the universe. So everything in between is his. That's still, right? So first step, he put on the ground. Second foot, he put there. Now where to keep the 3rd foot? He covered everything in between because that's the pace. But the thing is, Vaman Dev made himself big. Of course, it's a wonderful act, being able to cover the entire universe. But to do that, he actually exerted himself. He actually extended himself. He became so big. And then he did that. What is the difference here? Krishna remained the same small 3-month-old baby, and he breaks this big Shakata. And by the way, who was in that Shakata? There was a demon, and Krishna wanted to kill that demon. So he killed the demon, And externally, the demon was not seen by others. But externally, this huge cart was broken simply by this little boy. Who saw this? The children sitting there and watching Krishna, they saw. Other than that, nobody else saw. The children saw Krishna kicking, and as soon as Krishna's foot touched the cart, it just fell apart. It turned over and it broke into pieces. But what is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur saying here, what is wonderful is that without exerting himself very much, it was quite possible for Krishna to act in this way. Whereas in his other expansions as Vamandev, he actually had to extend his foot to the greatest height to penetrate the covering of the universe, right? He also pierced the universe, the covering of the universe, and then the water from the Karana ocean trickled inside, and that became Ganga. But to do that, he had to exert himself, extend his foot. But Krishna didn't have to do that. And another example is when the Lord killed the gigantic demon Hiranyakashipu. You remember how big Hiranyakashipu was? Hiranyakashipu was also, because we read in the 3rd canto, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha were Jai Vijay, the associates of Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha. And when they came to this earth planet, or when they came to the material world, they got these bodies made of material energy. They were fashioned, designed for them. And these material bodies are asura bodies. Rakshasas, asuras, not Rakshasa, asura bodies. Jai Vijay, who have their transcendental by yogic Shakti, Anima, Laghima, like this, you have these yogic siddhis. With that, they made their bodies very, very small. The way the spirit soul is so small, but the only thing is not just the spirit soul. They had their eternal bodies. They made them so small and they entered into these huge asura bodies. And then we see how their bodies were. They were huge, big, well built and very strong. Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha's bodies. So Hiranyakashipu was huge. Now, when the Lord appeared to kill Hiranyakashipu, also Hiranyakashipu had this benediction from Lord Brahma. After he did tapasya, he got this benediction that no weapon would be able to kill him. It wouldn't be able to penetrate his body. No weapon, not even Indra's thunderbolt. His body was like vajra, like diamond, very strong. So then the Lord, as Lord Narasimhadev, how big was Narasimhadev? Hiranyakashipu was so big, huge, and Lord Nrsimhadev, in front of Lord Nrsimhadev, Hiranyakashipu looked like a fly. That's how big Lord Nrsimhadev was. When he would walk, by touching the mane on his head, the hair on his head, the mane, he had a lion's head, the clouds were getting scattered in the sky. That's how big Lord Nrsimhadev was. So to kill Hiranyakashipu, the Lord appeared in such a huge form, and also his nails. With his nails, he tore open that diamond-like body of Hiranyakashipu. That means he had to once again exert himself in order to kill such a big demon, a huge demon, a strong demon. But is that what Krishna did here? What is Śrīla Prabhupada saying? When the Lord killed the gigantic demon Hiranyakashipu, he had to assume the special bodily feature of Narasimhadev. But in his Krishna avatar, the Lord did not need to exert such energy. In Krishna avatar, he didn't need to exert such energy. That's the thing. He remained same. He killed the demon Shakatasur and he broke the whole cart. Yet he didn't become big, or he didn't take up any weapons, or he didn't extend himself. He just remained like a small baby. Therefore, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. In other incarnations of the Lord, in other expansions of the Lord, they're all his Swamshas. As we discussed it multiple times, all these avatars are him only exhibiting a certain portion of his potency, and then that incarnation or that avatar, that Swamsha is known by that name, because only that portion of Krishna's potency is being exhibited. It's actually Krishna only, but only a portion of his potency is being exhibited there. But Krishna, he is Swayam Bhagavan. He is complete with all his potencies. Swayam Bhagavan, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that means whether Krishna is in the form of a small baby, or he is a boy, or he is in his youthhood, under all circumstances, he is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, just showing us, the difference between Krishna and his other incarnations. Krishna didn't even have to become big or anything. Even when we read about Lord Varahadev, we see Varahadev appeared like a small boar, from the nostril of Brahmaji. And then while everybody was watching, he just became so big, so gigantic. And then he went into, so these are all wonderful pastimes of the Lord, extraordinary pastimes of the Lord. But the beauty of Krishna's pastimes is he just remains in a human-like form. You don't see in any of the pastimes, Krishna is showing, he is doing superhuman activities, but he remains in his human form. You don't even see him becoming big or anything, or, using his Sudarshan Chakra. Well, we see in the case of Shishupal, Krishna called the Sudarshan Chakra, but otherwise, but even that, it is shown that Varun Dev gave him the Sudarshan Chakra during the Khandava forest episode. We see that. So, but he doesn't exert himself. That's the thing. Whether he's killing Putana or Trinavarta or Aghasur, he just remains in his, human-like form, like a child. Yet his activities are so wonderful. This is the contrast that you see in Krishna's pastimes and his other expansions. So Śrīla Prabhupada is saying, therefore, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Yes, Prabhuji, 1 second. In other incarnations, the Lord had to exert some energy according to the time and circumstances. According to the time and circumstances, the Lord had to exert some energy in other incarnations. But in this form, he exhibited unlimited potency. Thus, the handcart collapsed, its joints broken, and all the metal pots and utensils scattered. The Vaishnava Toshani remarks that although the handcart was higher than the child could easily touch the wheel of the cart. And this was sufficient to send the demon down to the earth. So, in another commentary, Vaishnava Toshani, I think Srila Sanatana Goswami's commentary, says that the roof was very high, but the child could easily touch the wheel. By touching the wheel, the entire cart collapsed. That's how Vaishnava Toshani explains. And in Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, it is said that because the demon was residing in that cart, that heavy demon was there, so the wheels sunk into the earth. Therefore, the height of the, the cart came down and Krishna could touch the ceiling like that. So, yes. The cart was struck by the soft lotus feet of Krishna as if with very little force. To break the cart, Krishna did not extend his foot high upward like Vamana in breaking the shell of the universe, nor did Krishna's feet become hard like Nrsimha's nails to tear apart the hard body of Hiranyakashipu. This rare display of power by Krishna, which does not contradict the sweetness of his childhood pastimes, shows the completeness of Śrī Kṛṣṇa in Vrindavan. The cart turned upside down, and the utensils of gold and silver, not just brass and copper. I could only think that far. But yeah, the utensils made of gold and silver scattered everywhere. The wheels and axle fell apart. And okay, so this information is given in Brahmanda Purana. The Brahmanda Purana states that because a heavy demon entered the cart, the wheels sank in the earth and the cart's height decreased. Thus, Krishna's short baby legs could touch the cart. So, that is as per Brahmanda Purana, quoted by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary. But in Vaishnava Toshini, it is said that the roof was very high. So, Krishna touched the wheel and the whole cart fell apart. So, yes, Prabhuji, you have a question? Atulya Harinam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my obeisances. Srila Prabhupada. I have a little technical question here, Mataji. Please correct my understanding. Since Saktasur, he did not have a visible body.
Yeah.
And he entered an inanimate object like the cart here. So how does the commentary here distinguish between a ghostly possession and a demonic possession in the context of this Krishna Lila? Because my understanding is a living entity, especially a jiva, be it a demon or or a jiva like us, can with the with, if he has any yogic power, can manipulate as a human being or an animal or some sort. But I'm just trying to understand like how it can Saktatsur could manipulate a gross matter like a cart. He can enter into a cart and then attack the Supreme Lord here. I'm just trying to understand the physics of the, because I've heard in like in Bengal and Orissa, they do black magic here. Usually the black magic happens through another living entity, not through a gross matter like a cart or something. Here, Saktasur entered an inanimate object like a cart. So finally, my question, what I'm trying to understand is, can a demon manipulate inanimate objects? But here we understand that it did, but what is the physics around it?
Yeah, I mean, what do you say? The external energy is inferior to the marginal energy. I mean, if the ghost is able to take possession of the body of a person, the body is not conscious. It is the living entity who is conscious, right? So the person is taking charge of the body and causing trouble to the living entity who is in that body. But why can we not say that the ghost can enter some inanimate object? Remember when we read about Bhagavad Mahatmya, we see now I'm forgetting because it's been a while since I read, but in the beginning, what's his name? Gokarna and his brother.
Dhundukari.
Dhundukari, yes, Dhundukari. So when he became a ghost, he was actually staying in a bamboo.
Yeah, I remember.
So they can stay. It's not that they cannot enter into inanimate objects. It's not like that. And even in the house, they say, where you have these cobwebs, they say ghosts stay in that place. Wherever they stay in those, when there are cobwebs, they stay in that, like that. I mean, generally they say like that. And also, you see sometimes things are just, falling and, because there's a ghost. So many incidents are there. It's not that they cannot enter into inanimate objects. It's not like that. Many incidents, generally, someone is walking in villages and, there's a coconut all of a sudden falling down from the tree on top, things like that. So anyway, we should talk from Shastra. I shouldn't be
Yes.
talking about. So from Shastra, Dhundukari's example, I think that should be sufficient.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we've never heard of a ghost entering a dead body and manipulating the dead body. It's always like a living entity who is alive. The soul is in the body, and then the body gets, possessed or whatever. Well, that. But again, when we hear all this, like you said, it could enter a bamboo tree or it could enter a coconut, and do things. So, yeah, I guess they have that mystical power to do that.
Yes, of course. The thing is, they're actually attacking the person only. Ultimately, they're attacking the person. But it can be that person's body directly, or they can be acting from outside that person's body also.
Mm-hmm.
So either they take possession of the body directly, entering that body, or they can be outside the body and still causing some disturbance to the person. That also happens.
Okay, thank you. I have another question already. So, in the writings of just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the cart demon, which is Saktasur, is represents, I believe, it's a burden of old habits, intellectual pride. Based on this,
I'm not familiar. I'm not, I don't know that information, Prabhuji. I don't know that.
yeah, I was just trying to understand, like how this verse specifically, how do we understand that why that those qualities are for Saktasura, I was just trying to relate based on this verse.
Yeah.
What are the specific?
Yes, each of the demon actually represents one bad quality.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
now I'm not able to recollect from memory.
No problem, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Can discuss next time.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So we only covered one verse today. Let's read Bhagavad Gita because I have another class coming up. So let's read Bhagavad Gita. We are reading from the 13th chapter, text 13. We read 7 today, right? So tomorrow we'll be reading 8 of Bhagavad Gita. So in Bhagavad Gita, we were discussing this verse. Geyam yattat pravakshami. I will tell you because Krishna already told about Jnanam. Geyam, what is the object of that Jnanam? That I'm going to tell you. Krishna said, Yaj gyātvamritam ashnute. By knowing that one gets, gyatva, yaj gyatva, knowing that amritam ashnute. You will get amritam. Amritam means deathlessness, liberation. Now about that Geyam, who is that Geyam? Yesterday we discussed, and here also Krishna saying this only, Brahma. So as per Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, Brahma means Brahman. Brahman. So Anadi Mat Param Brahma. So what is the characteristic of that Brahman? It is Anadi. and mat param. Mat param means it is subordinate to me. Who is speaking? Krishna is speaking. Krishna is speaking, and Krishna is saying that Gyayam. Why that Gyayam is called as Brahma? Because this is Jnana Yoga. The last 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita are talking about Jnana Yoga, and the goal of Jnana Yoga is Brahman, merging into Brahman. So therefore the Gyayam, the object of knowledge, is Brahma. That Brahma is subordinate to me, and it is Anadi, Nasat, Tan, Na, Asad, Uchyate. So Sat means cause. It has no cause, nor is it transformed to produce an effect. Like from clay, you get, what do you say? From clay, you get a pot, right? Clay, when transformed, becomes a pot. In that way, can we say that Brahman, when transformed, becomes something else? No, that does not happen. So, further about this verse, just some more points are there. Matparam. Okay, so I told you Matparam means this Brahman is sheltered in me. So, Brahman is sheltered in me means when you say Brahman, sometimes it can mean Krishna himself. Brahman means Krishna. And at other times, when we say Brahman, it can mean the effulgence coming from Krishna. Both are correct. When you say Brahman, you can mean Krishna, or you can mean the effulgence coming from Krishna. Both are correct. Why? The way sun and sunlight cannot be separated, right? So when there is a lot of sunlight, you say it is sunny, right? So you don't separate, you cannot separate sunlight from sun. Similarly, you cannot separate Brahman from Krishna. A person and the effulgence coming from him cannot be different, because this effulgence cannot exist independently. That is the point. When Krishna is saying Mat Param, means Brahman is not existing independently, independent of Krishna. No, it's not existing independent of Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is saying Mat Param. So in that sense, you can take Brahman as Krishna, or you can take Brahman as the effulgence. Effulgence produced from the body of a person is not different from the person. But in this discussion, in this verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti is taking Brahman to mean the effulgence coming from Krishna. Mat Param, it is subordinate to me. So in this verse, 13th verse of the 13th chapter, the Acharya is taking Brahman to mean effulgence coming from Krishna. So in Bhagavatam also we see, Srila Sutta Goswami says, Vadanti tat tattva vidhvasta-nānā-rasa-kupya-bhājanaṁ yajñānam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. That means the knowers of tattvam. Tattvam means truth. The knowers of what truth? Absolute truth. Param tattvam. The knowers of truth, tattvam, say that the tattvam is jnanamayam. Jnanamayam means it is full of knowledge. Jnanamayam. When you say jnanamayam, right, means it is just filled. It's full of knowledge. Like that. And that absolute truth is only one. There's no two. It's not that there are 3 different absolute truths, Brahman, Paramatma. No, it's only one. But the knowers of that truth, sometimes they see that one object as Brahman, some others see as Paramatma, and still others see as Bhagavan. But actually, that absolute truth is only one. And what is that? That is Krishna. Bhagavan is Śrī Kṛṣṇa. That one Tattvam is sometimes called Brahman, sometimes Paramatma, and at other times as Bhagavan. But Sutta Goswami is saying that absolute truth is only Krishna. So, Tattvam is one, and that is Śrī Kṛṣṇa. Whatever else you see, everything else is not different from him, because everything is coming from him only, is his energy. So nothing is separate from him. Okay? Like sunlight and sun cannot be separated. So everything else cannot be separated from him. All things in this material world are made of his external energy. Yes? Then we know how this creation comes into existence. The Lord's expansion as Karanodakashayi Vishnu. His immediate expansion, Balaramji. Balaramji's expansion, Chaturvyuha, Sankarshan. Then from that Chaturvyuha, Sankarshan's expansion is Lord Narayan. Then from Narayan, there is second Chaturvyuha expansion. That Sankarshan, he expands as Mahavishnu, Karanodakashayi Vishnu. And when Karanodakashayi Vishnu desires to create, he glances on Prakriti, sends his time, Kala Shakti, into Prakriti, and then immediately 23 elements are produced from Prakriti. And again, once again, he sends his energy into those 23 elements, and they come together and form these universes. He expands himself into so many forms, and each form enters into each universe as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. From Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Virata Purusha is coming, and Brahmaji is born, and Brahmaji does secondary creation. What I'm trying to say here is how everything is coming from Krishna. Remember that. Then Brahmaji is doing secondary creation. Secondary creation means all the different species and, different planets and everything else. Once again, after 100 years of Brahmaji, everything goes back into Karanodakashayi Vishnu. He closes his eyelids, right? And everything is wound up. Who is this Karanodakashayi Vishnu? He is an expansion of Krishna. So therefore, whatever we see, everything is coming from Krishna, and because it's Krishna's energy, it is not different from Krishna. And that Krishna is only Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. And his, Krishna's Swarupa is his Jnanamayam. Jnanamayam means Jnanam, full of knowledge. Why he is called Jnanamayam? Because he does not have ignorance in him. Avidya is a component of the external energy. Avidya or ignorance. All conditioned souls are covered by this avidya. But in Krishna's person, there is no avidya. So avidya is the opposite of jnana. Ajnana or avidya. There is no avidya in Krishna. Therefore, he is jnanamayam. But we, conditioned souls, our bodies, our mind, intelligence, everything is based on avidya. It's coming from avidya. Because of avidya, we are getting all these bodies. So, the Lord's body, our body is jada. Jada means unconscious. The body is unconscious. The body is never conscious. When the living being enters into it, it's moving like a car. But the car is never conscious. When the driver is sitting inside, he's driving the car around. But the car is never conscious. Similarly, our bodies are always jada, unconscious, made of the external energy. What about the Lord's body? It's transcendental. It's not material. So it is jnanamayam. It does not have avidya. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yaj jnanam advayam. That jnanam, so that absolute truth is called jnanam. It's called knowledge. Why we are using jnanam here? Remember the context. This is jnana yoga. So Krishna is explaining that absolute truth is jnanam advayam. Advayam means there is no second one. There's only one. Advaya jnanam. Advaya jnanam means he has no competitor. His form, Krishna's form, his Swarupa is Advaya Jnanam. Try to understand. His Swarupa is Advaya Jnanam. Why Jnanam? Because he's Jnanamayam. There is no avidya in him. And his Swarupa is Advaya Jnanam because There is no one to compete with him. Even if we find someone competing with him, they are all his amshas only. So in that sense, they are not different from him. Nobody is equal to him. Nobody is greater than him. All the various avatars are Krishna's amshas. But people who don't know tattva, they talk foolishly without understanding tattva. The hand is a portion of the body, but it is not the whole body. So similarly, all these amshas, everything else is amshas of Krishna. So the Lord's avatars, he has swamshas, personal expansions, and vibhinna-amshas, separated expansions, the living entities. So again, another example is like the tree has its branches, leaves, flowers, but together everything is called the tree only. Like that. So all the amshas together, they are known as that one tattvam who is Śrī Kṛṣṇa. So everything is coming from Śrī Kṛṣṇa. What is the center? Krishna is residing in Goloka. That is the center for everything, the origin for everything, the cause for everything, and everything expands from there, from Goloka. And even though we see thousands of varieties, why we are seeing thousands of varieties? Because he has so many different types of Shakti. Parasya Shaktir vividhaiva shruyate. But these Shaktis are non-different from him because Shakti, Shaktimatayor abhinnatvat. Shakti and the Shaktiman are not different. You cannot separate them. It's all one tattvam. That means one and different simultaneously, and this is achintya. Achintya bheda abheda tattva. His Shakti is not different from him. His Shaktis are not different from him. But at the same time, because it is his insignificant energy, it is different from Bhagavan Swarupa. When we talk about the external energy, it is so insignificant from Krishna's energy, so it is different also. It is different and it is not different. So therefore, achintya bheda abheda tattva. The main point here is that the Jnanis are not able to see Krishna. He is the absolute truth. But they see only the effulgence that is coming from him. The effulgence, that is their object. And this effulgence has no attributes. They are not able to see the person behind that effulgence as the cause of all causes. So here Krishna is saying that Brahman or Brahma Tattvam seen by Jnanis, that is also sheltered in me. He is telling Arjun, that Brahma Tattvam, which is the Geyam, the object of knowledge for the Jnanis, is also sheltered in me. They see the effulgence of my body and their knowledge is limited to that. They can only come that far. They cannot see beyond that. But behind that effulgence is another cause, and that is Śrī Kṛṣṇa. That they are not able to see, the Jnanis. Why the Jnanis are not able to see Krishna behind? Why are the Jnanis not able to see Krishna who is behind that Brahman effulgence? What is the reason? What?
Knowledge, because of their limited knowledge.
Why they have only limited knowledge? Why they are not able to see beyond that?
They have little bhakti, not more bhakti, Mataji.
But why they have only little bhakti?
Because they are dependent on jnana sadhanas. They first they depend on karma, next jnana. Because of that little bhakti only they can come to know about that Brahman. Other than that, they don't know.
Okay. Rajakishori Mataji, you want to say something? Why the Gyanis are not able to see Krishna as the cause of all causes. They're only able to see up to Brahman.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I was thinking, Gyanis, they are by nature, they are nirvisheshavas, their method is subtraction. So to find the absolute, they systematically reject everything that looks material. Like for example, if you say hands are material, so they will say God has no hands. And face is material, they will say, okay, God has no face. So by the time they reach that spiritual platform, they have mentally striped away all the attributes of the Lord, because they are looking for something attributeless, nirvishesha. So
how did they become like that?
Because they don't believe God as a person, they don't offer.
That's the question. Why? Why are they not able to believe?
No.
You're not able to. Okay. Mataji,
Because
you're saying something I don't hear though. Rajakishori Mataji, I don't know if you have some sound issues. Swati Mataji.
Because their guru is Nana Guru only, no Mataji. They are not bhaktas. Under them they did their
They did
bhakti.
bhakti under a Gyani Guru. So
Because
they
of
know,
that.
yes. So okay, let me put one more question. Is it possible for a Gyani to become a devotee?
Yes, Mataji. Because if they come in contact with bhakta devotees, they can come to know about these, Mataji, by explaining these all things, whatever you told. They can become bhaktas.
How will they come in contact with a bhakta devotee?
Because of their mercy.
Whose
Because
mercy?
of that devotees, bhakta devotees mercy.
That is the point. That is the point here. The reason the Gyanis are not able to see beyond Brahman is because they never got the mercy of a devotee. That's the point.
Even
And
the
the
four
reason-
Kumaras also were Gyanis in the beginning, right, Mataji?
Yes. Yes. So how did they get bhakti? Very good question. Do you know how they got?
Narad Muni, or I don't exactly remember the.
Yes, both. Actually, from Brahmaji. Brahmaji is a devotee. Our Brahmaji is a devotee. He actually got darshan of the Lord. He's a devotee. And Brahmaji explained to Kumaras about the Supreme Lord. And by Brahmaji's mercy, the Kumaras who were Gyanis, they received the mercy of their father, who's a devotee. And from him, they heard the description of the Lord. Because of the mercy from a devotee, now they had a desire to see the form of the Lord, which they heard. They heard the description, but that now they wanted to see. So the reason they got darshan of the Lord is because they first received mercy of a devotee, Brahmaji, and also their brother Narad Muni, both father and brother, pure devotees. So by their mercy, Kumaras who were Gyanis were able to get darshan of the Lord, and they were able to turn to bhakti. That's the only way. And so the reason that the Gyanis are not able to see beyond Brahman is because they didn't get the mercy of a pure devotee. If they get the mercy of a pure devotee, can they turn to bhakti? Yes. Example, Kumaras, like that. Also, Sukadev Goswami. Sukadev Goswami was a liberated soul. Before he heard Srimad Bhagavatam, he was already liberated in the Jnana Marga. But after, hearing, by receiving the mercy of his father, Vyasdev wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. And who did he teach that Srimad Bhagavatam for the first time? He taught it to his son, Sukadev Goswami. like that. So by the mercy of Vyasadeva, because of receiving the mercy of a devotee, even a jnani can turn to devotional service. Until and unless they get the mercy of a devotee, it is not possible for a jnani to understand, to see that the cause for Brahman, you cannot say the cause, but behind Brahman is also Krishna. Krishna is the original cause of all causes. But the thing is, with buddhi, with our intelligence, buddhi tattvam, we cannot understand Bhagavat tattvam. Because Bhagavat tattvam is inconceivable, achintya. So, it is transcendental to our buddhi, intelligence. Only one who has faith can realize that tattvam, and one who has faith can make another person also accept that. That's the thing. So how do you get that faith? The beginning of that faith is to receive the mercy of a pure devotee. When you receive the mercy of a pure devotee, by that mercy and combined with that mercy, now you are hearing. So together, a combination of two. Actually, you will begin to hear because of mercy. But then we shouldn't say simply I got mercy, so no need to hear. No, it doesn't work like that. After hearing, by that mercy, after receiving mercy, by that mercy, now you'll start hearing. And by that hearing, your conviction becomes stronger. And then, so because of mercy only, you're able to accept. Otherwise, you wouldn't even accept. When you hear statements about the Lord, about bhakti, if you don't receive mercy, you will think it is simply exaggeration. How is it possible? These are all like fairy tales. You won't believe it. You won't believe it. Okay, I will stop here for today because it's time now for the other class. But thank you all so much for joining. We will continue tomorrow and we'll have Chaitanya Charitamrita in your evening. Okay, thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Mukta ki jai.
Jai.
Kalpatarubhyascha
Krishna Kripasindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo namo namah.
Thank you, Krishna.
Mataji, do you have class in temple?
Yes, I'll send the link
Okay.
if they send you. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
At what time, Mataji?
In 10 minutes, it will start in 10 minutes.